You played something, we got off subject. It annoyed me. We are talking about DEI. He just said, go hire, go get hired somewhere else. That's literally what we explained earlier when we said DEI has nothing to do with the hiring process. I'm just trying to sit here and
Hmm.
get my
I don't sound
brain
like that.
to operate.
Why you try to mimic me? I don't sound like that.
No, I wasn't trying to mimic you. I was speaking in my
No, that's
own voice. If I was trying to mimic you,
okay.
rolled a blunt and said it while smoke was coming out of my mouth.
Damn, if you throwing shots, you don't even know what's wrong with you,
That
You
was
shorty.
a good
started
shot, though. That
it.
was a
You
good
said
one.
I was trying to mimic you.
And this is
I'm
the
not
joint, baby.
mimicking
Hey, I
you.
pearled this raw cone. I pearled the raw cone. You feel me? This ain't even no blunt. I pearled the raw cone, baby.
Do we have any
My
subjects that we talk
apologies.
about where we don't argue?
My
But
Is there a
apologies.
why you gotta
subject?
be so combative though?
Is there
Damn.
a
I'm not
subject that
being
we can broach
combative.
as
I'm
Black
just not
people where we're
participating,
not
and
going
y'all
to
don't
argue?
like it.
Jr. Is there a subject we
Don't
can
say
talk
we.
about?
Don't say we're.
I back to the video when Jeff Beckham and his friend, because we keep getting off topic, um, and his colleague or whatever were stating all of these things that essentially affect their jobs. And in my opinion, that is a small minority of people that it affects. And I think that Black people need to learn to get on code with one another. I think that we have to learn to look at the bigger picture. I have been in those programs because I work in a nonprofit sector as well. And I can tell you right now, Chicago Scholars helps minorities. And when I say minorities, that Hispanics, if you have a group, I've seen it happen year after year. It'll be a group of 17 scholars that got scholarships. Out of 17, it might be two Black Americans. So the majority of these companies that they work for, it's not Black Americans, it's minorities. To me, that's a huge difference. And I know that this is probably going to sound very divisive, but I think that our main priority has to be about ourselves, right? And what we can do for each other. Yes, it's okay. Like, let them hold their own nuts for a while. Like, that's just how I feel. I feel like solutions require Black Americans getting on code, and that means that it's okay to put ourselves first. It's okay to say we have to do right for Black people, and that means us. That doesn't mean including all these other groups, because when you use the minority, the funding essentially goes to everybody but us.
Okay.
Can I ask a question real quick? What is the yearly spending power of Black people in this?
What is the spending power of white people? I hate that question because it's always, because if you Google that of any ethnic group, it's high, right? So I feel like when people have that conversation, again, it's pointing a finger at Black people, and that gets us off code. Like, we need to be focused on the things that
1.6 trillion is the answer to the
Well,
question
like
that
no,
you
it
have.
doesn't. It doesn't get us off code.
and it's another thing, all of these public lynchings. I think that someone always says we have to stop that too with one another. Like, if we disagree, we have to find a way to disagree in private, and it doesn't have to be on such a major scale. And it's always like, oh, well, look at these other, comparing ourselves to other races. I think someone on the panel said, well, they in Africa over there writing with sticks. Okay, and maybe 5 of them made it out. We came over here and built the country from scratch. We built institutions that are still here today. I can name about 30 Black inventors. I can't do that for an African. I can't do that for all of these other races. So stop trying to downplay Black people like we aren't great. There is a degenerate class of people in every form of civilization that does not represent Black people as a whole. And I feel like we always focus on the degenerate class and act like that represents all of us. And it simply does not. So I feel like that's what I mean when I say that Black people need to be on code with one another. We don't like the degenerate class just like anybody else, and it doesn't represent us as a whole, but it makes for good conversation for us to create these public lynchings and these conversations that are making it appear that way. Alan.
Well, I guess my question wasn't really to become divisive or kind of, create a social political kind of drift, but rather ask the deeper question about, you know, what direction do we see ourselves, steering the ship in, right? And with that being said, it's more about like, it doesn't matter who's in power. It could be black, white, green, etc. We got to get away from that. What is the direction of the country heading in? What is the policies that are being presented, and how can we position ourselves to benefit from what direction that the country is going? If we're moving in this direction, this is the tide, this is the play. How do we put ourselves in position to benefit from that, or put ourselves to, financially, garner benefit from that? Like, we got to get away from like this, like blue, red, left, right, stuff like that. That doesn't benefit any of us. It certainly doesn't benefit me. But what I want to know is how we take that spending power and move it in the direction in which the country is heading. If this is the direction, whether we like it or not, it doesn't matter. We're going to make money regardless of who's in power, whether it's Democrats, whether it's the Republican, whether it's the Green Party, whether it's the Independent. How do we position ourselves to benefit fruitfully from whoever's in power regardless? That's more of the question that I was trying to go after and present, not really create a sort of a shifting in ties of like who makes what, etc. It's more about where do you align yourself. And as far as being on code, I totally 100% agree with that. But unfortunately, that's not the state. And so if you have people who are voting more emotionally rather than being financially literate and making sound decisions for the betterment of everybody around them. Are you?
All right, let's get Shan in there, Coil and Viz.
I think I'm not trying to screw this conversation up. I think I kind of understand what you're trying to go with this, Louise. I guess you're saying that in this particular situation with a president that you can financially step up with. Is that what you're trying to say? The benefit of this president is the financial part. Is that what you were trying to?
I'm speaking more of like, let's not focus on what color is in office, but rather more on what are the policies that the country is heading in, and how to position ourselves to benefit from whatever the direction that the country is heading in. We're gonna make money regardless of who's in power. That shouldn't matter. Like we don't make up half the country, but how do we position ourselves to still benefit regardless of who's in office?
Gotcha. I guess my stance on the entire conversation that we've had prior to is just I'm an educator, the education portion, and I see what takes place in the education. So that's really the reason why I'm here. I do have some concerns as it moves forward with the education, the funding, because like I said, that funding is particularly for basically us. When you talk about Title I, we benefit the most from that. And even as it comes with higher education, private loans, a lot of people, Black people, don't have their credit on point. Private loans, that's more interest rates. It's a different ball game than if you're talking about student loans, right? So other than that, I don't see an issue. DEI, I don't really see. My son just graduated. It's graduating in May. After Trump, and he's got 5 offers, and he's a Black boy. So I don't think it is affecting us the way that people are saying it's affecting us. At least not his situation. So that's all what to say. Education. That's all that is my concern.
Sam, where's he graduate from? Where's he graduate from, Sam?
Brandeis in Boston. It's a top 1% school. A lot of people don't know it. It's in Boston. It's like by the Harvard.
The high school?
It's college.
Why you call that man a boy?
He's my young man. That's gonna always be about.
Don't disrespect.
And call that man a boy.
So let me just say this. My son has a strong father. Nothing I say, I'm gonna always be mommy. I ain't trying to be daddy. I ain't gotta be. So he can go. He's a man. He's my young man. I apologize.
Call him a man. Don't call him a boy though.
Absolutely.
He ain't no boy no more.
He's a bright young man, and he acts
on his name.
He acts accordingly. So.
All right, let's go ahead and get Coel in there. Go ahead.
I think we just got to stop being selfish. To be honest, I think that'll be the only way we can actually make a plan if we stop being selfish. Because everybody's just selfish. Everybody, like the parents is working, the dads don't want to be with the moms don't want to be with the dads. So everybody working, the kids is going to school, they not getting the right attention at home. The home life is not right. That's really why the school system, not even a school system, just the school life is messed up in our community. And that's really all we could worry about is our community. We can't worry about everybody else. And I have something that I don't want to say I struggle with, but it's like, who do we X out of the community? Because people disagree. We all disagree. Not we all disagree, but a lot of people disagree. But then it's just like, who do we X out of the community? Where does that start at? We gotta X some people out. Because in our community, I think it's fucked up, excuse my language, because don't nobody want to X nobody out. In a general sense. I know in an individual sense, some of us may cut some people off, but we don't cut everybody off that we need to. Maybe some people do, but not everybody. You know what I'm saying?
They cut off? They cut off the black men who get white women. If
Well,
you're a white woman,
but they only cut them off out of hurt. They cut them off out of hurt.
They draw the line somewhere, right? So,
but see, they still don't cut them off, because once if that black man want to spend some money on them, guess what they gonna do?
No, they take the drug dealer money. They take the divestment.
Hold on, y'all.
That's facts. But see, that's another thing, though. But that's because women don't have direction. I assume when you say that, you're speaking about the women, right? But that's because women don't have direction. They're not supposed to be out there, and to be for real, they're not supposed to be out there picking their own man in general, man. Now, if she got a strong father and if she got a strong father and she's been taught right, maybe. But these women cannot pick the right man. I'm not even gonna lie.
All right, y'all. Come on, y'all. Let's go ahead and get back on topic. We're talking about
You're right.
I know you said that we need to X people out of the community.
Yeah. Who do we X out?
All right. Hold on. I was next. I got next. So, and I'm glad Coel brought that up, because that's where I was going to go. Going back to what Aisha said about we all need to be on code. Realistically, that's not going to happen, right? We for the most part saw a big division of that in the prior election. We see that division as is, just with us talking about the degenerates, right? So we all have different standards and morals that we stand by. So it's going to be impossible for us to all be on code. So the question is, just as he addressed, is what do we do with those people, right? So when and I hate to do this, but if we're going to bring up white people, right? When you think of white people, for the most part, you don't think about the trailer trash. They separated themselves from those type of white people. So I don't understand why we expect for all black people to be on code for the same thing. Me personally, I don't agree with men being in women's bathrooms, right? I don't agree. Let me finish. I don't agree. I don't agree with a white man telling me that if I don't go vote for him, I'm not black. But yet we had a large group of black people that went and did it. So if that's what you want to do, then that's your option. That's your choice. So I think the division that we see is clear and evident. All that we can do is go to our community, develop that community, and whoever falls aside, they're going to fall aside. That's been the nature of human. That's been what humans have been doing since the beginning of time. So I don't think that is going to change just because we're all supposed to jump on code now.